All right, guys, welcome. Welcome to the Hurley Investments market commentary. Obviously, you're probably expecting Kevin, and he is not going to be with us tonight. Hey, Abraham, good to see you here. Good to see all you guys. Got our regulars, so good to see. I imagine you're hearing me since I'm already gotten comments. So yes, Kevin is still feeling like, let's be honest, he's feeling like a lump of dog crap. No two ways about it. So I'm taking over again. And man, when does this week end? Where are we at? Monday? Gosh, let me tell you how I feel about this week. This pretty much shows it right here. Ouch, 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 ouch. That says it all. Mercy. Okay, so okay, I'll get out of that window. All right, so here's what's going on. We've got Kevin was seemingly on the mend last week and talked with you guys Thursday on the trade findings there, and so was going well. Sunday he took a pretty crappy turn and was given some Regeneron by a doctor friend of his, the Regeneron cocktail, and it absolutely tore him up and pretty much just laid him out. And his body did not accept or like it. And when you're already sick with COVID, it just does not help too much. So he was feeling it pretty crappy Sunday, and Monday today talked with him a little bit and definitely feeling much better. But it looks like I'm taking over again for accounts this week as he tries to rest and put on the mend. Yeah, it was worrisome. Not gonna lie, extremely stressful. Tough to deal with. I don't know what else to say. I deserve a huge raise just for this week. That's all I'm gonna say. All seriousness though, it makes sense why we all listen to Kevin and trust him. He's obviously an integral part of this business, and I'm glad that I'm in a position where I can step in and help in times like this, and hopefully that, I guess, shows my value and a little bit of why Kevin puts some trust in me. That's obviously it's a lot of stuff on my shoulders, but we're working through it. We basically are in the process of circling our wagons around in the Hurley Investments family and just thinking and praying for Kevin that he continues to get better and starts to feel better. So that is that is the situation we're in. It definitely wouldn't hurt to throw some thoughts and prayers his way. Even if you're not religious, what could it hurt? So, Jim asks, how's the rest of the family doing? So it looks like they're doing pretty good, considering just been kind of waiting on him hand and foot, and helping him out. Sure, his little daughters are worried, but his wife is a trooper and pretty tough lady, and taking care of him. He does have some neighbors that are highly qualified doctors that have stepped in to be of help, and he has a lot of a good support system. Has my sister and her family in a few doors down, so there is a bit of a family connection there, neighbors, and yeah, the guy in his neighborhood, doctor, is the head of the COVID task force in Utah. So that's pretty awesome. That he's definitely got that going for him, his support there. So a lot of positives, and that's what I'm focusing on. Mad asks, so far he's avoided being hospitalized. Yeah, so far, Mod, he has avoided that, and fingers crossed that continues to go that way, and he just continues to get better. I think the positive part from my perspective was that Sunday night really came because of the Regeneron cocktail he was given that his body just did not accept. Maybe some allergy with it or something, who knows. And not necessarily COVID itself, but so I feel like that is a good positive, and yeah, just a matter of kind of getting through that, recovering from his body rejecting all of that, and continuing to get better with the COVID side of things. So that's how it goes. Guys, are there any questions on that matter? Anything that I can help as far as thoughts or questions or worries? I tried to kind of hit all the points there. I don't want to sound like I'm going crazy over here, but it certainly was worrisome, and we'll go from there. All right. Mod, great segue. Where do you think the market is going? So we'll touch on this. Well, we'll touch on it now, but obviously we have our economic stuff coming up, which I'll fill in here. But we've got tomorrow, we've got the inflation numbers coming out. That will decide where the week goes, most likely. Had some selling today in the market, basically because I would think some risk being taken off the table there. Thanks, Abraham. I'll check that out. Yes, Bill, we'll get to earnings in a little bit. All right, so let me go this way. What am I looking at this week? So first of all, just a little bit of housekeeping. Not going to do trade findings this week. Canceling that for the week, and so don't worry about that. Don't bother showing up. Let me just make a list here, kind of bullet points to go over. Inflation numbers, and I'll put the CPI, Consumer Price Index. We're already protected on our bank stocks reporting on the 14th and the 15th. So we're already protected, I should say, or reiterate. Those are good to go, and we got some good protection points, especially for Bank of America over there at $40 a share. So we got that done Friday. So that's looking good. And then we've got the rest of our stocks. We've got a few reporting at the end of the month: Apple, Visa, I think Boeing, just off the top of my head, some other ones. Disney is further closer to first or second week of May. But I'm looking to get things protected. A little earlier than normal. Normally it's like we're looking at it 2 weeks prior to earnings. I think I'm okay going a little earlier than that. Just because of the specifically tomorrow's numbers, not knowing what's going to happen with that. And it certainly is not going to hurt to be a little more protected through this earnings season. Why? Besides the inflation numbers tomorrow, which I would think is a little less important than the actual guidance. I mentioned this last time, and it really hasn't changed. But what I'm looking for is CEOs during earning calls, what they talk about as far as guidance. If a lot of companies aren't giving guidance, I would think that would send the market down a bit. If companies are giving crappy guidance, obviously that's going to hurt. And I would think it's even more important than even the earnings numbers, because everybody really just kind of wants to know what to expect and what to look for down the road. So you could get an earnings miss here and there, and good guidance, or at least somewhat positive guidance, or some guidance that would send stocks up. So that's the basic key points and things I'm looking at while Kevin is on his COVID weight loss plan. He said he lost like 27 pounds or something. I don't know. I call BS. That's just like water weight or something. 27 pounds. I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. How about that, Kevin? You know, I hope he listens to this. Oh, mercy. All right. Moving along. Okay, Bill, not a diet I'd want to be on. You ain't kidding. Oh man, not a diet anyone would want to be on. And you know what? Jeez. For all of the comments about how this is just a bad flu, Kevin just thinks it's just a bad flu. Man, sure laid him out. All right. I did want to focus a little bit on, before I get going on our stocks where we're ending this week, little note on Baidu and Apple. So Baidu kind of got crapped on today. So I had even the FinViz up. This is an even nicer looking graph. So I was looking today to see if it could break this little pink diagonal channel, price channel, upper channel here today. Really wanted to see that happen to see if we couldn't get protected at a higher price. But obviously a pretty clear bounce down. And more importantly, where was it? 220? 220 is what I saw as somewhat of a support level, at least a recent near-term support level where it was really holding it pretty well, even up until Friday. You get back to this chart. Friday ended just under 220, so it was kind of right there. It had gone up by the end of the day, which to me was positive and usually is. But Baidu down, I think, on that technical line, and because it fell below that 220 point, it just made sense to me to get things protected, or rather to roll protection up. Those of you that have shares of Baidu, we had 195 puts, I think April 30th or something around there, strike puts way back here. What we had done was, if you remember, cashed in 320 puts we had gotten around this period, and man, sucker sold half of its value off, and we cashed in big on those puts. Usually on a sell off like that from, didn't quite catch 350, but from a sell off from that point all the way down, hit 174. I mean, we could have cashed in those shares, or excuse me, cashed in those puts and bought 70% more stock. So let me write that out. 320 puts and bought normally that's what we would do. A sell-off like that, we would just put that all back to work. Why didn't we? Well, let me throw it to you. Why do you think, given what we've talked about with Baidu, why would we not want to do that? Instead, we basically bought 40% more stock and used the rest of what we made to add 195 puts. So those puts were 100% paid for by the 320 puts that we sold. This all happened on this day, the most ridiculous Friday, I think, ever. Or maybe that was a Thursday, I can't remember. I think it was a Friday. Any thoughts why we would want to do that with Baidu? I kind of gave you a hint there. Because, anybody, any takers? All right, William says because it moved $25 in one day. William, you nailed it. How can you justify leaving Baidu at that point in time and like record volume of buying volume, even though it is buying volume? Man, on a day like that, how do you justify putting all that back to work without protecting it? We got most shares put in, we kind of had to do it in chunks, but around that 195, $200 price, and protected it there at 195 with 195 puts. I'm going to spell this wrong. Oh, I did it. No, named one U. So I tell you all that to tell you we were running low on our, or much higher on our shares than we were protected on our puts. made a little bit up today, but really, $20 out of the way, $30 if you count where it started. So we needed to get that going. Earnings for Baidu isn't estimated until in mid-May. Hasn't confirmed yet. So those are the things I was looking at and why I moved it up to I'll say rolled, which is more accurate, rolled protection up to 215 strike, puts out to May 28th, get us protected through that period and sit through those. Another reason why on this point getting protected a little earlier than normal, volatility has come down quite a bit. Get back on here. So just from a month ago, it's about half the volatility that it was. And that is going to make protection much cheaper. I'll add that note. Another reason why justifying going a little further out for protection a little earlier. That is Baidu. So why did Baidu, outside of technically, what was the deal? So we had over the weekend some stuff about antitrust fees that are given to that were given to Baba. They paid those, and it's kind of hilarious. I'll take you to this. This was the weirdest article to read. I mean, you can find this on Alibaba. Fine. This was kind of a silly negative article that I don't know, I feel like misses the point. And it's just weird to see Chinese company. This is like the most Chinese thing you would say as a Chinese company being slapped with something like $2.5 billion fine for antitrust issues on that the Chinese government slapped on, and it was 2.5 billion yuan too, so not even dollars. Alibaba would not have achieved our growth without sound government regulation and service, and the critical oversight, tolerance, and support from all of our constituencies have been crucial to our development. For this, we are full of gratitude and respect. Man, if that isn't the most kowtowing, I don't know, communist way to appease your communist government, not communist way, but a business to appease the communist government. That's the way they say it. Yes, Mod, they do know how to play the game. But, I mean, check this out. It went straight up today. Opened up at 237, went up to closed at 244, and Friday it closed at 223. What kind of reaction is that? I guess that is what it is, but it certainly didn't help Baidu today. Questions on Baidu? I know Kevin's talked about it a ton, so I don't think I need to go over it a ton, but I'm happy to answer questions. A lot of the things I keep hearing people worried about are simply that Baidu is going to be delisted, or that they're going to dual list. And I mean, problem is most companies are dual listed anyway. So honestly, what is the big deal if Baidu goes and gets dual listed? Why is that a problem? I don't get it. I really don't get it. What about delist? After I put this note in. So for delisting, there are some options, not like we're SOL. We hold our options and sell Baidu for a profit and carry our options until expiration and run those to the end. We can keep it and just work through E-Trade to manage Baidu as through a foreign exchange. So it's not the end of the world. So hopefully that puts some of you at ease with Baidu. So pretty simple. On to inflation. So sorry, actually before that, I've told you I was going to talk about Apple real quick. Really, I just wanted to point out, first day we've had a negative day in over a week and a half, coming from 120 all the way up to 132, almost 133. So felt it was worth leaving today, but I'm going to draw my line in the sand at 130, and probably, even if it doesn't get down there, I'm probably looking to just protect Apple. At 130. That's really all I had to say, unless there's other questions. I think they were down today based on the whole chip crisis, chip shortage, but maybe it was a good time for Apple to get the heck out of. I say that a little dramatically, not get the heck out of, but start doing their own processors as opposed to using Intel's. I'll get a little more on that here in a little bit. So that's all I wanted to mention. First, little bit on inflation. So it's worried the market and worried that it will cause what? Any thoughts? I think it's fairly simple. David says higher interest rates. Thank you, David. That's exactly where I was going to go. So why am I not too worried? Well, Powell basically came out Sunday in an interview and said, we are not going to raise rates pretty much no matter what through 2021. And they're reiterating the fact, I mean, I don't know if I could stand being a Fed chair, because all they do is make their decision, say what they're going to say, and then they have to repeat the damn thing for the next month until they come out again and say the same thing. And man, it must be exhausting. Powell said we aren't raising rates in 2021. The consensus on the other chairs is that, spelled consensus wrong, they won't even raise it in 2022. They're willing to let it run hot. So what is the big deal with inflation? Why is everybody so worried about it? Well, okay, we got a comment here. Bad for markets. Why is it bad for markets, Maud? Perfect. More inflation, we get less buying power, less buying purchase, less profits. Perfect. Thank you. Abraham, Mod, same thing, less money to invest, everything costs more. Great. Russ should be more worried about increased tax rate. That might be very true, Russ. I have to agree with you. Maybe this year for sure. That's what I'm worried about. But to kind of follow up with those answers, we should be heading to something like a hyperinflation period like we had in the 80s, paying off the Vietnam War. At this point, there has never been more money, more dollars in the market, in the system, I should say. So it's a supply side issue. They just keep printing money. Mod says, therefore, ripe for a rug pull. Well, I guess we'll see. Jeff, let me answer that in just a second. Finish this thought. But it is somewhat, it's kind of self-regulating just naturally. But main point is that they're not raising rates, and that's really what is the fear due to inflation. Once they start paring things back from that, they'll start to, I don't know, tell JP Morgan that they can't hold $100 million or whatever the amount is, and they'll start pulling it off the table. They'll start selling securities assets as opposed to buying them in order to flood the system with cash, and it'll go the other way. So at that point, I would think, according to the Fed, a few years off. But they're wanting to basically get the economy back stronger, will help smaller businesses recover, get through the economic impact of the of COVID. So hopefully that helps a little bit understand there. Let's see, Jeff. I don't want to publish that here. In fact, anyone that needs to get a hold of me that otherwise would have called Kevin, just need to, whatever it is, answer questions, just talk through some things a bit. Not a problem. Call our toll-free number, and then you can call, just use the directory to call me directly. from that option list that comes up on the answering service for the toll-free number 888-287-1030. And that way we can chat, and I can give you my number directly. So if I don't answer, please leave a message. I get a lot of junk sales calls, so I will try to answer, but if I don't, please leave a message and I'll call you back. All right, so moving on, where will our markets end this week? You know, it's kind of funny, we do these, but it all just depends on how the market reacts. We already heard the Fed say they're not going to raise interest rates, so short term, you know, whatever happens tomorrow with the inflation numbers, the Fed is just going to let things go. So I would say bullish, just because I feel like we're going to have good guidance. Dow, bullish. I still have the S&P bullish, and I still have the NASDAQ bullish. Although, as I said last week, if any of them go flat or negative, it's going to be the S&P or the Dow, where they'll have this period, they kind of go through a flattening before it tests. 50-day again, I imagine that's probably a few weeks away, but you know, who knows. The point being that these little cutbacks here have provided some better growth moving forward. But again, all goes back to guidance, and better guidance and more guidance is going to keep pushing things up. I would think most definitely. And if it's not, then, or if it doesn't, rather, if guidance doesn't come out good, or just more of the same, we don't want to give guidance, we're gonna end negative. But that's what I'm looking for. 5%. Where will our S&P end in April? That's what I said last week. I said there was an analyst that came out and said it could be 3%, but we're already pretty close there. Why not cut the difference? And just say 4%. But who knows, maybe next week we'll be looking at this and saying, geez, 5% was pretty accurate as we go through earnings. Let me get out the earnings. Let's see. If you want to watch this one more time. Okay, we got it. We get it, Kiev. All right. I'll put this market recap up. Basically went over all of this for the most part. I'll include it on my little chart here, or my paper rather. Lee, Apple going up. Hard to say when it's gone from 120 all the way up to 132 in a week. I would certainly like it to go up, but I think it's going to react based off of inflation numbers tomorrow and guidance and the other chip news. But let me get to the chip news in a bit. I have an article down at the bottom. Let me get to economic numbers here and earnings. Let's see, where are we at? Let me get our earnings. Monday, don't care about that. Don't care about Tuesday. Wednesday is a bigger day. BBBY, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, which is most important for us, obviously, Wells Fargo. Thursday, we have Bank of America, BlackRock, Charles Schwab, Citi, Delta. Man, everything's on Thursday. You're right, Bill. Pepsi. Don't care as much for the others. Alcoa. Tons of them. Friday. LI. BNY. CFG. More financials. All right, I think that's good enough, but I will be paying attention to see what comes out for those. Econ reports, really just tomorrow. PPI Friday of last week. Let's see. Let's get the correct week. Just scrolling down. We'll get to internationals in a minute. But our main ones here: consumer price index, core CPI, going down the week. Let's see, we've got import export price, we've got a Fed chair speech on Wednesday. A few others. Thursday, we've got manufacturing. Jobless claims, let's see, continuing claims. initial claims and retail sales. Going on a Friday, just to wrap this part up, building, housing. Building permits, housing starts. So a few things to kind of get you back to what happened though end of March. I mean, it was so positive. Consumer confidence was up at the end. Was like one of the largest month-over-month gains, 40-year high in ISM manufacturing. Some manufacturing businesses getting ramping up and getting back to work. ISM services index was up. Job growth was strong, another key point. And that was all with producer price index up really high as well. So I would think a couple of more of these throughout the week would definitely help. Going on to international, go back up. See anything that sticks out to me? Retail sales, Europe. I'll just abbreviate. The 10-year, no auction in the US today. Yields were up a little bit. Import exports in China. Going down the week, don't care about New Zealand. Speech from Europe chair on Wednesday. Industrial production. Few speeches from Europe's Fed, along with ours the same day, obviously. So Europe's consumer, or let's see, Germany, but it's Europe. Consumer price index. Retail sale, that's ours. China Friday. Oh my goodness. GDP. Retail sales. that's the things that are sticking out for me on international. Get this. How am I looking to trade? Just simply getting protection on a bit early. I already said this, but I'm just kind of reiterating and buttoning everything up. Who was it that asked about Apple? Lee. It's really going to come down to earnings on the end of the month. Hard to say whether it's going to continue to go up, but as you've listened to me, I'm more keen on getting protected now, sooner, even if it has a bit of a run up. Thanks, Maud. I'm sure you're gone, but no problem. Let's see, Jeff, to answer your question on Baidu, I could go over this a bit more with you, but really, Kevin did a great job. Not last week, but the week before, did a great job on some details there. Let me see. Went over pretty much everything on Baidu. Let's see what I'm going. Hurley, my Hurley investment. See if I can find it. I think this was it. March 22. If that's not it, it was. Just gonna see if it had the one before or after, but if that's not it, it was one of the trade findings classes that same week. Or maybe it was this one on Archegos. Here it is. This is the one. So March 29, go check that one out. It pretty much answers all your questions on Baidu. But like I said, give our toll-free number a call, and I'll talk to you if we need to go over more. So, guys, I think that's it. Unless there's any other questions, I know we kind of went a little longer. No problem, Jim. Thanks a lot. Means a lot. Appreciate it. Had a couple articles here. Let's see. Biden administration has backed 50 billion in funds going to the semiconductor industry through its $2 trillion infrastructure proposal. That is to help curb the fact that South Korea has a larger share of that market with the NVIDIAs and the Samsungs and such. It would be better, I think, just my opinion on Mr. Biden, Mr. President Biden, if you just let companies keep their money and give them an incentive to invest their own money into chip technology and proprietary technology that is leaving or being had other places like South Korea. Just my opinion, but either way, money going there, and a little bit on Baidu. This is just worth a glance, not long, but they basically won a lawsuit accusing Baidu of defrauding shareholders about its ability to comply with Chinese regulations governing internet content. Just that they won a lawsuit here in the U.S. by a U.S. judge that threw out the lawsuit. So kind of small, kind of whatever, but a couple of headlines to look at, and that's pretty much it. Guys, is there any other questions? Thank you again for the kind words, and really appreciate that support. Thanks, Abraham. Take care. All right, guys, not seeing questions come in. I really appreciate it. Again, Trade Findings is canceled. Let's try to think if there was any other thing I might have missed. I think I pretty well gone over everything I wanted to say. Really appreciate you guys coming tonight, and we'll look forward to next week, and hopefully Kevin is the one giving us the next market commentary. If not, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm gonna do it. I'll pick up where there's slack, and I'm happy to do my job. So, all right, thanks guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.